Welcome back to Buy or Buy. Today we're looking at the 2010 to 2012 Lexus HS 250h, the very first dedicated hybrid Lexus, and one of the brand's biggest flops. Built in Japan, Lexus hoped to sell 30,000 a year. They barely moved a fraction of that before pulling it from the US after just 3 years. It's reliable and luxurious, but it's basically a Camry Hybrid in a Lexus suit, so this forgotten flop is a maybe. Today, we're going to strip away the assumptions and uncover the unvarnished mechanical reality in this explainer. A 35 mpg luxury hybrid that Lexus couldn't give away, now a cheap, reliable curiosity. Camry underneath, Lexus on top. This one's a maybe. So we really have to ask ourselves, is this unique sedan the ultimate practical bargain for pragmatic buyers, or is it a mechanical trap hiding some incredibly costly secrets? Here's our roadmap for the explainer. We're going to run through the HS250h profile, demystify its Camry Hybrid connection, dive into its critical and moderate mechanical flaws, look at the CT200h alternative, and wrap up with our final ownership verdict. Section 1. The Lexus HS250h profile. On paper, this was supposed to be the ultimate practical luxury vehicle, targeting buyers who specifically want cheap Lexus comfort and 35 miles per gallon, and who really don't care about image or speed. This front-wheel drive sedan pairs a 2.4-liter Atkinson cycle engine with electric motors. It hauls around 3,682 pounds of leather and real wood, with just 187 combined horsepower. Now, if you're a bargain hunter drawn to rare oddities, you might also crush up this with the Toyota Prius, which is cheaper and far more efficient, or the sportier Prius-based Lexus C200h, the ES300h that eventually replaced the HS, or even the Lincoln MKZ Hybrid. Bottom line, it's a heavy, plush, and highly comfortable spec sheet for pragmatic bargain hunters. Moving right along to Section 2, the Camry Hybrid connection. Let's demystify the engineering DNA of this car. This is the headline, folks. Underneath that premium sheet metal, the HS250h shares its core hybrid powertrain with the proven XV40 Toyota Camry Hybrid. Because it's a Lexus-badged Toyota hybrid, it is supremely dependable. RepairPal actually rates this era an impressive 4.5 out of 5, with owners regularly reporting 130,000 plus trouble-free miles on that Prius-proven battery tech. You get a genuinely plush cabin with leather, real wood, and an available Mark Levinson audio system, all while returning a solid 35 mpg combined. And since it flopped, it's cheap, uncommon, and finding parts is absolutely no problem since it shares the Camry's guts and is still sold in Japan. Bottom line, parts are plentiful, and the hybrid foundation is incredibly reliable. Which brings us to Section 3, critical flaw, head bolts, the catastrophic failure point of the 2AZ engine family. But despite that stellar hybrid tech, we have to talk about the 2.4-liter 2AZ block because it harbors a fatal flaw. Under thermal stress, this specific engine is highly susceptible to literally pulling its own head bolt threads straight out of the aluminum block. This isn't a minor hiccup. It triggers sudden head gasket failure, rapid coolant loss, and severe engine overheating that will leave you totally stranded. And if those threads let go, there's no cheap fix. Techs have to remove the cylinder head, drill into the block, and permanently install coarse, heavy-duty metal time-cert thread inserts to establish a stronger hold. It's incredibly expensive. And speaking of critical issues, as a used buyer, you absolutely must verify that specific safety recalls are done. We're talking about a hybrid transaxle that can short-circuit and cause power loss, a rear tie rod nut that can loosen, and a 2010 fuel system integrity recall for leakage in a rear crash. You've got to check that VIN. Let's pivot to Section 4, moderate flaw, oil consumption, the daily ownership reality. 35. That's the combined city and highway MPG this vehicle achieves. For a nearly 3,700-pound luxury car from this era, that is a stellar efficiency metric. It sounds like an absolute dream for your fuel budget, right? Well, hold on, because that fuel savings is constantly threatened by an engine that aggressively burns through its oil supply. Widespread across the 2010 and 2011 model years, this 2.4-liter engine can burn up to 1 quart of oil every 1,200 miles. The reason for this stems from a manufacturing flaw where the oil control piston rings just lack sufficient tension, allowing oil to literally blow right past the rings into the combustion chamber. Now, Lexus did fix this for 2012, so on those 2010 and 2011 models, you have to change the oil often and check it yourself. You can't rely on dashboard lights. And honestly, while we're covering the daily reality, you should also expect a surprisingly stiff ride, more noise than you'd expect from a Lexus, underwhelming performance next to a cheaper Prius, vague steering, eco mode surging, and a dated dial interface with zero touchscreen. Next up, Section 5, the CT200h alternative, the smaller, dedicated hybrid sibling. If the flaws of the HS250H give you pause, you're probably looking at the Lexus CT200H. When you compare the two directly, the CT200H drops the heavier 2.4-liter engine for a 1.8-liter hybrid powertrain shared directly with the third-generation Toyota Prius. It's a sportier hatchback that completely sidesteps the 2AZ engine family and its infamous issues. Bottom line, the CT is lighter, vastly more efficient, and avoids those terrifying headbolt risks entirely. Finally, we arrive at Section 6, the final ownership verdict. Strict mechanical vigilance required. Verdict: the 2010 to 2012 Lexus HS250H is a maybe, and it's the textbook badge engineering flop. Lexus took the Camry Hybrid's guts, wrapped them in generic sheet metal, charged a premium, and watched buyers walk straight back to the cheaper, thriftier Prius. And honestly, they had a point. But as a used car, the story softens. It's superbly reliable, properly luxurious inside, returns a respectable 35 mpg, and costs almost nothing. The catch is there's no compelling reason to choose one over a Prius or a used ES unless you specifically want cheap Lexus comfort with hybrid frugality. Maybe grab a well-kept 2012 with the oil consumption fix and all recalls completed. Buy an early car with no recall history. Cross-shop or Prius if economy is the goal. Bottom line: reliable, plush, and pointless. Fine if the price is right, but it flopped for a reason. I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to consider. Knowing the hidden vulnerabilities of the 2AZ engine, does the undeniable 35 mpg luxury offset the strict maintenance reality required to keep this hybrid alive? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and stay curious.